It's a cloudy, rainy day where I'm at right now, and I kind of find it ironic because I see a lot of cloudy, rainy days ahead for AEW after the stunt they pulled last night on Dynamite. But before I get into that, I am Mark Magnum. This is the Magnum Report. Please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification icon so you don't miss out on new content. Now let's get right into it. I'm going to set the scene here. The Young Bucks show this video. They show the Young Bucks backstage. They show there's a monitor behind them, and they get into the video after a few minutes of them talking. Now, they show Jack Perry backstage. You can see Samoa Joe backstage, Aubrey Edwards, and a lot of other AEW personnel because that's their gorilla position. Then you see CM Punk walking in frame. And I want to preface this first because there was no audio for this. So, as a person watching this, you've got to go off body language and only what you see. So CM Punk walks in the frame, and after watching the Ariel Helwani podcast with CM Punk on it, and CM Punk explained some of what happened or some of what was said or his version of the story, however you want to look at it, whatever, he explains some of what happens. And then you watch this footage when CM Punk walks up to Jack Perry, and you can tell they had a conversation. They were talking. It wasn't like CM Punk just ran up on him and started instantly assaulting him, because trust and believe, I'm not condoning anything, any kind of physicality, any kind of violence. I'm not condoning that or giving anybody an excuse in this. But they have the conversation. Something gets said, because I don't know CM Punk personally, but I would like to think he's like the average person that's not just going to push somebody for no reason. I would think that something was said to him. Buttons were pushed that caused him to push Jack Perry, and then he proceeded to put him in a front chancery, a front face lock, or for you MMA fans out there, a guillotine, however you want to call it. It was quickly broke up in 3-4 seconds by Samoa Joe and other people, Chris Hero and Jerry Lynn. There were all kinds of personnel standing backstage. They build this in a way like this is going to be something, or they act like this is going to be something that's so revolutionary, or this is going to get to the bottom of the story, but to me, all it really did was kind of confirm what CM Punk's already said. And for me, I think it's a weak bitch move, just for the fact that you guys do all this after he's left. You couldn't have done this when he was around, where you guys could have made serious money. Instead, you guys wait until he's fired, been gone for 8 or 9 months, and then because, and I don't know if this is directly because, but then because he goes on, CM Punk, I'm saying, goes on a podcast, now you guys want to talk about it after, Tony Khan had went on the exact same podcast and was asked some of the same type of questions, and his response was no comment, and I plead the fifth, and stuff like that. And he had his chance to get his story out there. Now CM Punk is, and now they want to retroactively go back and do this. And like I said, they should have done this when CM Punk was still there. And I don't want any of you people watching this, oh, you just don't like AEW. No, I like AEW. And I like the fact that there is competition, because as a person that was alive during the Attitude Era and actually lived through it, unlike some of you guys out here that like to comment about it, I actually lived through it. And I realized what it was when WCW closed down and then WWE got stale as fuck. And then AEW comes around, and all of a sudden it makes WWE step their game up. So I'm not sitting here acting like, oh man, AEW sucks and I wish death on them or anything like that. But when I look at this as somebody that wrestled in the professional wrestling business, and I know how things work in the locker room, and for me, my mindset is, especially for Jack Perry, this is a fuck around and find out moment. You're going to sit there and you did what you did out there in the live crowd where, ooh, cry me a river, after the confrontation you guys had on an episode of Collision. So you already have that context where you have Jack Perry pushing people's buttons. And then you go backstage, and I don't know if Jack Perry really said, what are you going to do about it? Like a little smart ass punk that he probably is. But for me, you're pushing people's buttons. And then you're surprised when you push those buttons, there's a reaction from that. So that's just my take on that part of it. Now, I want to get into the actual crowd part of it, because I've seen a lot of the live footage from people's fan cams where they recorded it in the building. And you had boos where people were booing it. You had people chanting for CM Punk. And this is not the look that you want if you're AEW, because it makes it look as if you have not got past this 8-9 months later. It makes you guys look petty. And the people will say, whoa, well, CM Punk, he said what he said on the Ariel Helwani podcast. You know, the difference is, one, they didn't do that on WWE programming of any kind. Two, let me see, Ariel Helwani asked him questions. And like I said, the same questions that was asked of Tony Khan, and Tony Khan chose not to comment, and CM Punk chose to comment. So for all these people out here, because I've seen a lot of comments and I was watching a lot of videos online and different streamers and looking through their comment section just to get a feel of what the climate for the wrestling community is right now and what some of the people think about this. And you had a lot of people, you know, hating on CM Punk, but then you had, I think, more people laughing at AEW. And when you've got all this stuff going on with AEW, ratings are kind of sagging. You've brought in all these new free agents that haven't really, you know, made anything change. They're not moving the needle. So it's just a bad look. And then for me, the reasoning for why the Bucks are, you know, how they're trying to turn this into a storyline, how the Bucks are explaining that, well, because we had to be EVPs and this situation caused us to lose our match against FTR. And it's like, well, one, after watching the footage, you guys are nowhere in this video, either one of you. And if I'm, like I said, after watching the video, CM Punk's in this video and went out, and if I'm keeping this all in kayfabe with the psychology that the Young Bucks are trying to present me, CM Punk went out there in kayfabe and he beat Samoa Joe. So it just kind of gives no credence to their argument, because you're saying this was so traumatic for you guys that you couldn't pull yourself together to do a match against FTR in kayfabe. But then the guy that was actually in the video could win his match. It makes the Young Bucks look like weak ass bitches. And then it just, none of this makes sense. And I watched the video, and you can see when the skirmish happens, and you can see CM Punk push Jack Perry and choke Jack Perry, and everybody gets involved and breaks it up quickly. You can see the monitors to the right of CM Punk, and you can see somebody stand up, and you can see somebody pointing, and you can see somebody with a lot of curly hair standing there. Now, if this is supposed to be the part where Tony Khan feared for his life, I'm sorry, dude. Maybe you need to go to counseling then. Maybe you need to get out of the wrestling business then. You are a owner of a wrestling company full of testosterone-loaded men, and you expect everything to just go with no strings attached. Nothing's going to happen. There's never going to be an argument. There's never going to be a fight. It just goes back to the interview with Ariel Helwani when all this happened and other stuff happened, and CM Punk's talking and telling Tony Khan how he feels about it. And you have Tony Khan basically, well, what do you want me to do about it? And I'm with Punk. Be a damn boss. Quit being a bitch. Quit trying to be everybody's fucking friend in this company and actually put your foot down. Because you could still have CM Punk right now, but instead you let this shit fester all the way from All Out from the year before. And then it comes into this, and it just continues the Adam Page thing, the Bucks and Omega, and them busting into CM Punk's locker room, or however the shit happened. I don't care. I hope you guys don't come at me in the comments, but if you do, I still don't give a shit. Because I've been in this business. I've wrestled plenty of people. I know people in AEW. So it's not like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And then you go into just how the fans, I don't think this is doing any favors for Jack Perry in the fans' perspective. Because if you are on his side, or if you think, oh, you know, maybe it wasn't as bad, or maybe, you know, it's not as big as they're making it. Because really it's not. But it's the fact that 9 months later, you're coming back to this. This makes Jack Perry look like a little petty bitch. And all of this is just not good fan service. And then I mean, this is supposed to be you guys building to a big pay-per-view dynasty in a couple weeks. And like I said, I've watched all kinds of different videos over the night and into this morning. And Nobody's talking about Dynasty. Everybody's talking about this stupid ass video, this ratings grab that Tony Khan tried to do to try to explain away, even though he's had ample time to explain this shit, and he's refused to say a word. And now he's letting the Young Bucks go out there and do the work for him. And it's just not good. And then after that, you have FTR come in ring for their cringy promo. And they were trying to get the crowd into it, but there was multiple times when the crowd were just dead silent, because it's just like, this is not what we want this company to be. And it's just obvious that this is such a fucking petty move. Petty move. But then, like I said, I've watched these different videos and I've looked through all kinds of comments on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram. And a lot of people are, oh, this is the end of AEW. I'm not going to be in that camp. I'm not going to be in that camp saying, oh, this is the death knell for AEW. And no. Do I think it massively hurt AEW? Yeah, because, yeah, there might have been a lot of people last night in that segment that watched this video. But my question is, how many people are going to return? How many people are going to watch AEW next week? Or how many people, after watching this video, has turned people off completely on AEW? And I've said this in other videos. I watched AEW from the start. I wanted to give them a chance because I wanted to see an alternative to the garbage I was seeing on WWE from Vince McMahon and his sorry ass. But as time has went on, AEW's lost the plot, I feel. And, you know, at the end of all this, I think all this is really just going to benefit Drew McIntyre, if anything, or CM Punk for that matter, because it's not like you guys showed a video of Jack Perry kicking his ass to where you can prove that CM Punk was a liar or he's fabricating the story. Yes, did CM Punk omit the fact that he pushed him? Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. He did not say, oh yeah, I pushed him on top of just choking him a little. But for me, for a fight that lasted a few seconds, that was broke up quickly, this is a whole lot to fucking do about nothing. And I think this is doing a massive disservice to AEW, their fans, and the guys and gals that are there that are trying to build something with Tony Khan. And it seems like he's more into entertaining the internet marks and smarks online as opposed to trying to build his company, because it's been for months now and AEW really can't turn the corner in the ratings department. I know people are going to be all like, oh, well, it's not all about ratings. Well, it was when Jericho was calling himself the demo guy. Now he's not. Wonder why. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think. Do you think this helped AEW, hurt AEW? Has this turned you off on AEW? Or does this make you guys love AEW more? Let me know in the comments. But please, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you also subscribe to my other channel, the Mark and the Fan Wrestling Podcast, where me and my boy Cisco talk about all things wrestling from back in the day to present day. But I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Peace.